This video shows you the search and report facilities available in Calpendo. It will cover the group report, the summary report, and the list report. We'll then go through some advanced uses of conditions for filtering the content of reports. Finally, we'll see how to set up a report that can be automatically emailed at regular intervals. Let's go to the search page and search for bookings. You can select any of the report types, but let's start with a group report. This lets us search for data that is split into separate groups, and then summary information is displayed for each group. This should become clearer as we use it. By default, everything is put into a single group, and it shows the number of items found. Now let's split that into multiple groups by the user that made them, which Calpendo calls the booker, and also by the project. So now we can see the number of bookings made by user and project. You may also notice that this is only showing bookings for a period 2 weeks either side of today. We'll come back to the way you choose which bookings are included in the report in a little while. Before that, notice that you can click on any row to show the data that generated it. Now, let's remove the count of bookings and instead show their duration. If you look closely at the result, it may look a bit odd because there are duplicated booker and project pairs. What's happened is that it's showing all the unique booker, project and duration combinations for the bookings. What you would probably want instead is for it to show the total duration for each booker and project pair. To do this, hover over the duration column heading and it offers you the option to change it. Then, ask it to add up the durations in each group. The durations are in minutes, so let's tell it to divide the numbers by 60 so that we get hours. You're not limited to adding columns for properties that are directly on a booking. For example, we can add a column for the project's account number. You can also modify the heading of any column if you don't like the default. Every time we've changed something, the report is automatically rerun. If you don't want it to do that, then just untick the Auto Run checkbox. Then you can make changes and press Go when you're ready. Some of the numbers in the report are a bit unfriendly, so let's round them off to the nearest whole number. If we enable Auto Run again, it knows we've just modified the report, so it runs it immediately. Now, let's break out the numbers in the report by the resource. Let's say we only wanted to display the report for a single resource. Calpendo lets you specify a number of conditions that each booking must satisfy to be included in the report. These are the default conditions when searching for bookings. The first condition selects bookings that start earlier than 2 weeks from now, while the second condition selects bookings that finish later than 2 weeks ago. Together, they select bookings within 2 weeks either side of today. So now let's add a condition that means it will only include bookings for the dry lab. Now you can see that the report only shows entries for the one resource. Let's restrict it further to exclude bookings for the light bulb project. Suppose we want to produce a quarterly report. To do this, let's change the date conditions to include bookings that start between January 1st and March 31st. Now we have our quarterly report. Let's save it so that we can come back to it later. Choose a name for the report. And whether everyone can change it. If you want to export a report to Excel, do this from the File menu. You can choose the format the report should be in and some other settings, but let's just accept the defaults for now. Press Export, and the report runs and your browser will download it. Let's search for projects now. And take a look at a different report type, the summary report. This displays the report in a more succinct manner than the group report and shows automatic totals, but can only break the search results down by up to 2 properties. Start by just pressing Go and it shows the number of projects. Now let's see how many projects of each status there are by setting the row to Status. You can also choose something for the column, so let's choose the project owner. And when it runs, you see the number of projects broken down by status and owner. You should also notice that this report shows us the total across each of the rows, so that you can read off the number of projects for any status, as well as showing totals for each of the columns, so you can read off the number of projects per owner. There's also a grand total. If you want to know where any of the numbers in the table come from, just click on one of them. And you can then click on one of the displayed projects to see its details. Sometimes, a simple list is a better way to represent information. For example, suppose you want to see a list of the projects that haven't had an account number associated with them yet. First, change the report type to List. We don't have any conditions set up yet, so this shows a list of all projects. So let's filter the displayed projects by adding a condition to select only those projects with an empty account number. Click on one of the rows to see the details for the project. Now let's show some more advanced uses of conditions. Let's first load the quarterly booking report we saved earlier. And suppose we want it to show results for 2 resources instead of just 1. We can do that by changing the conditions. First, remove the existing condition that controls the resource, and enable the Advanced Conditions mode. This now displays some extra icons that allow us to create nested sets of conditions. Let's add a folder for conditions to specify the resources, and add conditions for each of the resources we want the search to find. And make it accept the booking when either of the 2 resource conditions are true. This now includes items from the wet lab resource as well as the dry lab. We now have a report for a particular quarter, but suppose you want a report that can be run every quarter and automatically sent to you by email. Let's start by changing the date conditions. If the report is run on the first day of each quarter, then we want to select bookings in the previous 3 months. This is done by first choosing bookings earlier than now, where now is the time the report is run, and then choosing bookings later than a time of now minus 3 months. And save the report. To have the report sent by email, we need to go to the Reports page. This shows all the reports we have created, as well as any system reports that an administrator has created. Let's see the quarterly report we just saved, and edit it. Now that this report is for any 3-month period, let's change its name. All the other main details can stay the same, as can the conditions. The Columns tab shows the detail of how we defined the report, but we do not need to change any of these. All we need to do is to configure the schedule. We can now choose whether to send the report as an attachment or in the main body of the email, and the subject that the email should have. There are then 3 tabs where you can choose who should receive the email, when the report should be run, and details about the content of the report. On the Recipients tab, you can choose individuals, users of a particular user type, users in a particular user group, or users with a particular role. Let's leave it with the default settings that send the email to the user that created the report. Now let's choose when the report should be sent. To send it on the first day of every quarter, choose monthly by date, and make it every 3rd month. Then select the first time the report should run, and leave it with no end date, so it will run forever. The export settings can be left as they are. Save the report and we've finished. This will now generate a quarterly report and email it at midnight on the first day of every 3rd month. This video has shown you how to create the different types of reports in Calpendo, and also how to control what information is included in them. For more information, please visit calpendo.com, where you can also try Calpendo for free, or email info@calpendo.com or telephone the number shown. Thank you for watching.